Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. Okay, this week will be our last level 3 session, which is on quality of bituminous materials. Right, this is the last open-ended lab for level 1. Right, uh, I've already uploaded the videos in the channel for week 11. Those videos is actually from the YouTube channel of our subject, right? Highway and Traffic, UIT and CPP. So you can just easily access from the YouTube. Okay. Since this is a level 1, the procedure is all given to you, right? So I will just give you a brief explanation a little bit about what is actually quality of bituminous material. Okay, so last week we have already looked into the performance material of aggregate, right? As I told you earlier, in order to make up the asphalt pavement, we will need to have the aggregate and also the bitumen itself, right? So last week we assessed on the aggregate. This week we will be looking into the quality of the bitumen, whether it is sufficient enough in terms of the liquidity of the bitumen, right, to be used as part of the mixture in the asphalt pavement, right? So in this quality of bituminous material, there are two testing that will be conducted, right? Number one is the ring and ball test. This is actually to find out what is the temperature of this softening point of the bitumen, right? The bitumen will start to dissolve once you burn it up, right? So we want to know at which temperature does the bitumen would dissolve, right? And then the second testing is actually what we call as penetration test, right? If you were doing it in the laboratory, the assistant engineer would prepare this bitumen, right? And in a hot condition, right? Make sure when you are doing this penetration test, the state of the bitumen, it must be still hot lah, right? Okay. If it is already cold, it would be hardened, right? So you need to just have just a nice temperature for you to conduct the experiment. Okay, so this penetration test is actually to determine the consistency of a sample of bitumen, right? This consistency is determined by the distance in tenth of millimeter. So when you get the value, for example, let's say you got 30 penetration, it would be in decimillimeter, dmm. Okay, so you can look into the figure 1 and figure 2 that will show you the setup of ring and ball and also penetration test. Okay, so for this case, since this is a ODL, online distance learning, we are providing to you the videos of the procedure, right? I hope that all of you go through the video step by step, right? If you have any problem regarding to the videos, you can just simply ask me, right, through WhatsApp or just DM me. Okay, these two tests will also be assessed in the practical test for week 13 later on. So please take this seriously lah. Okay, alright. These are the procedures. Okay, ring and ball and penetration test is all given specifically step by step, right? So for this OEL one, you don't need to report the procedure again into your lab report later. So please use the new given to you lab cover, right? I've already spread out this lab cover on Monday, on 28th December. Recently I put it in the week 11 file tab, right, the cover. So you don't in the cover you can actually see they will start with the marks will be given starting from the result analysis. Okay, so for the procedure, this is just for you to have it lah. Okay, you don't need to put into the lab report. Okay, let's look at how they do this ring and ball test. Okay, this is the setup of the apparatus. Okay, ring and ball apparatus, right? You would have the sample here. This is where you have the sample, right? It will be placed into the mold here, right? And on top of your sample, you will put a load, right? This load is come from the steel ball, right? So the setup of this experiment, if you look at the detailed procedure, you need to have the temperature of 5 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius, the increment for 5 degrees Celsius, right? So if you look at the whole setup, before you can do the increment of 5 degrees Celsius, right? In the video, Puan Suzana already showed you that in order for you to get the temperature, right, you must get a very low temperature for this one, right? So you need to put ice cube inside here, right? You need to put an ice cube. Okay, so the temperature, it must actually drop to 0 to in between 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. Before you conduct the experiment, you need to drop the temperature of this water in the beaker, right? This is the water from in between 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. That's why you put this ice cube. Okay, then once it's dropped, right, as already explained in the video, it is said that the drop of sample A and sample B must not exceed the difference of more than 1 degree Celsius. If it's exceed more than 1 degree Celsius, the difference, you must redo the whole experiment, because there might be slight error while you are handling or while you are doing the experiment. Okay, so you would actually take the reading of the temperature for this softening point, right? So once you are done with your ring and ball test, you would conduct this penetration test, right? So penetration test setup. Okay, this is how the whole setup of the penetration test. Okay, the penetration rate is actually for 5 seconds, right? You just press the button and it will penetrate for 5 seconds into the bitumen, right? And you will take up the reading that you can get it from the dial gauge, from the penetrometer. Okay, this sample, if you look at this, right, you need to actually get a reading of at least 3 reading, right? 3 determinations, right? Each time you do the penetration, you need to ensure that you clean the needle before you determine the penetration value, right? You need to repeat, because you should have an average value so that your answer is accurate, your reading is accurate, right? And each tip of the needle, when you are doing it on the same sample, it must have at least 10 mm from the side of the container, and at least 10 mm apart. Okay, I'll just show you what it means here. Right, let's say this is the surface. This is the surface of the bitumen sample, right? So let's say you are doing the penetration at this point, right? It is said that the distance from the side of the sample, it must have at least a clearance of 10 mm. Okay, this is the first point, right? Then when you go to the second point here, this point should also give a clearance of 10 mm from one to another. Okay, and this is the let's say your third point, this is also should have 10 mm clearance. This is also, they should have 10 mm clearance at least. Okay, so you take three points, and then you get the average, right? So the value of the penetration later on, okay, you would put it into this normal graph. See here, this is the normal graph, right? So the input from the two reading, okay, input from the two reading, this is from the penetration test. We use the grade of sample of 60 to 70 grade of bitumen, right? So you might have your average somewhere around here, okay, and then you will get your you'll take your softening point temperature over here, and you will get the value of penetration index at the center here. So at the end, you would be asked to actually comment, right, on the result of penetration index that you got from the data that has been given to you. You need to comment on the suitability. You need to comment on the whether the grade of the penetration index can be used as the material for the pavement construction. Okay, either the bitumen can be used, right? So I want you to comment that based on GKR standard, and put that in your conclusion, right? And you have this appendix A, appendix B, and also appendix C, right? So I just want each group to follow the sequence that I have given earlier for OEL 2 and also for OEL 1 last week, right? Just follow the sequence for each group. Make sure each group you don't do the same data for the analysis. Right, I think that's all for this week's session. If you have any problem, any doubts, you can just ask me through this message. All right. Okay, thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum.